Who is that dude? Oh girl, that's just B-Eazy. Oh boy, that's just B-Eazy. Well, who is B-Eazy? Oh, you ain't know he been a pro, for show, all about the dough. He been running up them racks and still trying to get some more. He really one of them ones, his presence so pivotal. So hell yeah, he that dude, this is unequivocal. Ay, we all here to see B-Eazy. We wanna listen to B-Eazy. Ay, we all like B-Eazy. Nah, matter of fact, we love B-Eazy. Believe me, he really that dude. Subscribe to the channel, it's easy to do. If you care, then go ahead and share this fire content, extraordinarily rare. That's why I put that on my mama, he is that dude. And I put that on my daddy, he is that dude. So he always do it big, you know who it is. B-Eazy, 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 that dude. He on his way to the top and he ain't about to stop. You thought he would flop and didn't wanna give him props. The things you dreaming about, he already did, dude. Now it's time to soak a game, he about to give you. Like, share, follow, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to tune in when he goes live. Make a contribution if you feeling the content. Tap into the realness if you tired of the nonsense. I mean, no disrespect, ain't trying to sound rude, but the world already knows that B-Eazy's that dude. Ooh. We all here to see B-Eazy. Ayo, who is that dude? Oh girl, that's just B-Eazy. Oh boy, that's just B-Eazy. Well, who is B-Eazy? Oh, you ain't know he been a pro, for show, all about the dough. He been running up them racks and still trying to get some more. Don't care about the fame, just trying to gain and grow. He really one of them ones, his presence so pivotal. So hell yeah, he that dude, this is unequivocal.
Turn your radios up. Turn your radios up. Y'all know what this is. Y'all know who this is. B-Eazy Dat Dude, an impromptu stream back with another one. This one is gonna be a banger. Controversial trending topics, so it will be a doozy. Now look, I won't be here for a long time, but it will be a strong time. So before we get this thing started, y'all know I don't like to keep y'all waiting. So before we get this thing started, you know, I gotta hit you.
If you know the song, sing along. Yeah, you're right.
私も地元民。と言っても、実際に世代です。もう友達できたの？うん。ぶっとこっち見ろ。
Look, this promethazine got me leaning like a cholo in the club. I'm 20 deep. I don't be riding solo. Pull some bad bitches, they vanilla and cocoa. They wanna take some photos when we kick it out in Soho. Chicks are showing tits and popping pussy for my promo. Told them like juvenile, baby, move it for trap, making passes move. If I ever go broke, then I'm about to pull a jack move. Since a nigga healthy, I don't even gotta worry. With my bitch from Fiji, eating tandoori and chicken curry. That ism is really envy. My pimp game international. I design my own clothes, so I be always looking fashionable. Here's a couple facts about me that y'all didn't know. Some of y'all be getting bread, but I be getting bigger, dawg. I got bigger guns and a whole lot of better. And we are activated. So I'm going to get right into this thing because, like I said, I won't be here for a long time, but it will be a strong time. I've already been joined by some illustrious guests. Chakra King, sliding through. What it did do. Johnson Different, a.k.a. John Sinatra, coming in with the fiery emojis, bringing the heat. And, of course, the lovely My Boo, what it did do in building. Let's get right into it. Y'all seen the title. Y'all seen the thumbnail. War isn't wonderful. Well, it is wonderful to the people who believe in the military-industrial complex because they get to profiteer off of the pain and suffering of other people. They get to send other people's children, usually poor, impoverished kids, to go fight a war, right? So war is not wonderful for the average person. However, for the warmongering pigs and oligarchs, they love it. So I'm gonna get right into it. This video I will be reacting to, and I will have to pause it, rewind it, so I don't get a copyright strike. And especially with this channel, I don't know if they allow people to use their content regularly like that. So this video you can watch uninterrupted on the Economist channel. This is them interviewing Tucker Carlson about the war. So we're going to get into this one, and then we'll transition into, is Trump really making America great again, and the anarchy that's currently taking place at the airports. Let's commence.
You have made the argument very strongly that the United States has been pushed into something not in its own national interest by pressure from Israel and the lobbying power of Israel.
Well, it has been. The question is whether the person who makes the ultimate decision, who would be President Trump, should have pushed back. That's it. Of course, Trump should have pushed back.
As previous presidents have done.
To some extent, some very limited extent. George W. Bush didn't push back. We wound up in the Iraq War, and now everyone pretends, oh, that had nothing to do with Israel. I was there. I was talking to Bush. That's not true. That's a lie. And that's why it's so important, from my perspective, to say out loud what is true before history is rewritten and disappears. And it's lying that gets us here. Because we say, oh, no. Lobbying efforts had no effect. Really? We say that about our pharmaceutical policy? No. Everybody understands that every policy a large government.
So just to be clear, the title of this one is Tucker Carlson on whether Trump betrayed America first over the Iran war or the Iran conflict, right? It's clearly a war, but some people are reluctant to call it that. And since my channel is shadow banned, I got to be careful with the words, but sometimes I'm just a little bit loose with my rhetoric because I'm like, if I'm already shadow banned, then hey, let me just let her rip, you know what I mean? But as my platform grows, you know, I will be a bit more cunning and clever with my wording, but I'm sure y'all will pick up what I'm putting down.
Makes, including ours, is influenced by various stakeholders who were affected by that policy. But this is the one area we have to be like, no, it had nothing to do with the fact that his biggest donors were pushing him to do this, or the BB visited 7 times in 1 year. Are you joking? I'm not going to play along with the lies anymore. I don't hate Jews. I don't hate Israel. I love my country. This has happened yet again. I can give you a whole list of previous times where it's happened. And I think we need to know what happened so we don't hurt ourselves further.
I am not saying don't blame Israel. I think Israel has its own national interests, and Israel was certainly pushing for things. But I think there is more agency and therefore more responsibility with the President of the United States and the Trump administration.
Disagree. He represents me. I live here.
But that's important, because in the way you
Israel pushed him into this. Now, he shouldn't have gone along with it. He should have pushed back. But to pretend that Trump woke up one morning, it's like, no, I think
I'm
we're
not
going to.
suggesting that, to be clear.
No, Israel pushed him. The prime minister, by the way, it's not Israel. There are a lot of people who disagree in Israel. I know some of them. It was the prime minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, who pushed our president into doing this. And I hope this is the last time that Netanyahu or any foreign head of state will ever push an American president to do something that hurts America.
Well, let's talk about that, because I think we may be, as you yourself said earlier, at a tipping point in terms of the rapid decline within the United States for support for Israel. Maybe. And you see it huge. I mean, you've seen it for several years on the Democratic side. You're now seeing it on the conservative side, and you're seeing a collapse amongst younger people. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. How quickly is that going to change the politics of Israel in the United States?
I mean, it's hard to know. There doesn't seem to be a direct connection, not just on Israel or foreign policy, but on almost any issue between what our leaders believe and do and what the public thinks and wants. The public begins to believe in their frustration at their declining standard of living, for example.
So they say that we live in an alleged democracy, and then when the majority of people say, hey, bruh, we don't agree with this war, what we going to war anyway? Hey, well, we don't agree with sending hundreds of billions and billions over to Israel or any of these foreign entities in foreign lands. It's not that you hate the people there, that you hate their religion, hate their ethnicity and cultural background. It's just being America first. You have to take care of yourself first. Charity starts at home. But they frame it as a democracy that, hey, look, we're just doing this because the will of the people. Well, the will of the people said that, hey, they wanted you to close the border. And then they opened the border and said, this is a nation of immigrants built by immigrants. So we're just going to flood the country with millions and millions of immigrants, right? Is that really democracy?
Or declining birth rates, or whatever it is that's getting worse, and a lot is, that there's no way to use legitimate means to change it. Voting doesn't work. If they believe that, then they will, by definition, find other ways. And those ways are destructive. And I don't want that. So I think it's very important that a government, even a non-democracy, even a monarchy, respond to the concerns of the population. You can ignore them for a while. If you ignore them for too long, you get overthrown.
Let's talk, though, a little bit more about how this declining support for Israel, which I think is one of the most significant political shifts in the United States in recent years. How is that shaping the MAGA movement? I mean, are you now seeing, when I look at the opinion polls, I'm told that there's 100% support amongst MAGA or 95% support for the war. On the other hand, you're clearly a man with a large number of followers who is making a very, very different argument.
I was standing next to Trump at his house when he got elected. I've known him a long time. I talked to him a lot. So, I don't fully understand what MAGA is, but I know that the core promise of the Trump political movement, Make America Great Again, was America First. And it was articulated by him repeatedly at every campaign stop for 10 years. So everyone in America knows this. I think everyone globally knows this. The core of this movement was the idea that you would, and we could debate about how you do it, but you would try to put the interests of your country at the center of every calculation about how you manage your country and how you interact with the world. It's the single most obvious and single most popular political concept ever devised.
Do you think Donald Trump has betrayed America First?
I think that this war is something that he promised he wouldn't do, not once, but countless times.
So there's the politician answer. She asked him a clear and direct question. Do you think that Trump has betrayed the America First movement? The clear, unequivocal answer is yes. But Tucker Carlson, which he's not an idiot by any stretch of the imagination. He is a Nepo baby born with a silver spoon in his mouth, inherited hundreds of millions of dollars because he comes from a family that is a dynasty, right? So Tucker Carlson, the dude who has a prestigious education, was afforded every privilege that life can give him, right? If you ask him, is he a smart, intelligent person with a high IQ? He would say yes. So how can Tucker Carlson figure this stuff out? Is it that he can't figure this out, or is it that he's plain intentionally oblivious and obtuse? He know that Trump is a liar, right? He know that Trump has betrayed his base, his promises. Nothing that Trump is doing is America first. What he's doing is MAGA, not MAGA, making Israel great again. And on top of that, he's framing it as he's doing some grandiose accomplishment, but you can't really point to anything that he's done that has meaningfully impacted your life. Most of the times it's symbolic gestures. Maybe there's some things down the road that may help you, but what kitchen table issue that Trump is doing right now that he's keeping his word on, right? The only thing that people attempt to say that he's keeping his word on is mass deportations, but he's not even doing that. He's doing a lot of political theater, so it appears as if he's mass deporting people. But when you crunch the numbers compared to his predecessors, the mass deportations are not going on at all. Is he deporting some people? Is he detaining people? Is there a lot of political theater going on? Yes, but mass deportations, I would say that's a bit of a stretch. So yes, Trump has betrayed America first. And Tucker, because apparently he still wants to be ingratiated with the MAGA movement and the Trump admin, he's kind of tiptoeing and pussyfooting around it. Just say it with your chest, Tucker. Just like how you always used to say disparaging things about the Black community on Fox News, you're independent now. Say it with your chest. Trump is a stumbling, bumbling buffoon and a liar, just like most politicians. But then again, Tucker Carlson is a liar as well. Let's get back into it.
War is something that he promised he wouldn't do, not once, but countless times. And until YouTube is banned, we'll be able to prove that. And the idea behind it is not only contrary to America first, it may be its inverse. There's no argument that changing the regime in Iran helps the United States. And if there is an argument, I'd love to hear it. And by the way, if that argument is sensible and convincing, I will support it. All I care about is the United States. But I haven't heard that argument a single time. All I've heard is the kind of tiresome fear-mongering about nuclear weapons, which Iran did not have. It's insulting, actually, even to make that argument to me, that Iran's nuclear program posed such a threat to the United States 3 weeks ago that we had to launch a full-scale war against them. No one's even arguing that, because it's...
And more lies from the admin. They said that they destroyed their nuclear capability, but then now they're saying that, Iran was going to take over the Middle East. How were they going to take over the Middle East? You said that they don't have the capability to do that because you destabilized and destroyed everything. So now, just weeks ago, they told you they destroyed everything, and everything in terms of Iran's military might is dead in the water and non-threatening. Now they're telling you it's the biggest threat ever. Okay, let's just say it was the biggest threat ever, but the biggest threat ever to who? Israel. The chosen place with the chosen people, right? But they say America is the greatest nation ever. So wouldn't this be the chosen place with the chosen people? Oh no, you have to buy into some biblical fable, parable, myth, or maybe the truth. You just have to be bought in that Israel is the chosen land full of the chosen people. Therefore, we have to supply them so that they can preside over a genocide. But hey, this is God's plan. Huh? That's what they want to convince you, right? Israel is over there bombing people disproportionately slaughtering women and children, and you're supposed to be convinced that this is all in the name of the good book, that there's some scripture somewhere that says Bibi Netanyahu has been permitted by God to drop bombs on not just Palestine and Gaza, but on Syria, on Lebanon, on Iran, on Jordan. Show me in the Bible where it says that, right? People interpret the Bible that, hey, Israel is this promised land. Where did it say, where did it mention Bibi Netanyahu in the Bible? So people are pretending as if this modern state of Israel is everything that the Bible professes, right? And the Bible is about a belief. It's not about biology, and it's not about facts. You can believe that it's factual, but you have no proof that it's factual. The only proof that you have is proof that you believe it. But people could believe it a bunch of things. People believe in Buddhism, Hinduism, Catholicism, atheism. People believe, some people are agnostic, right? And these people want to convince you that, hey, you can believe whatever you want, but I'm right because you believe in Christianity. What form of Christianity, though, right? The Christianity that says give up your son, the Christianity that condones slavery. Which Christianity are you really referring to?
It's stupid, and the facts don't support it. So why did we do this when we did it? Because Israel wanted to do it. They chose the timing here. No one disputes that. And timing in war, as in life, is a lot of it, and it determines outcome. And they hadn't thought through what was going to happen next. The Israelis hadn't, and we hadn't, because we didn't have time to.
It sounds to me like you think he has betrayed it.
This war is clearly contrary to what he promised and contrary to the idea that your leaders should put your interest.
As you can see, he's going out of his way to not criticize him. Just say what everyone knows. Yes, he betrayed the America First movement because he lied, because Trump is a liar. But you see how disingenuous Tucker is. He may say some good things occasionally, but he still has his butt up Donald Trump's butt quite clearly.
Before those of foreigners, period. We put Israel's interest before ours. Trump did that. Bibi's wasn't elected president of my country. My president was. I supported him, obviously, voted for him. But yeah.
Let's talk about the way the debate develops in this country, because I think you're right. It's extremely difficult to talk about the subject that you and I have just spent the last half hour talking about, because there is a conflation. Very often, anybody who criticizes Israel is vulnerable to being called anti-Zionist or anti-Semitic, and there's conflation by the exact people you've just been talking about, in the kind of firmament of political discussion.
Do you think that's a good faith response or a tactic?
Hey, I mean, it's true. Bro is clearly he's face deep up Trump's derriere. Tell him to pause. No Diddy. But let's get back into it.
I'm about to ask you that question. Clearly, I think you and I agree. We have both been critical of the Israeli government. I just want to kind of clarify terms a bit here.
Well, I've really been critical of the Israeli government.
I've been plenty critical of the Israeli government. I've told you at the beginning that we were against this war.
What do you think of Gaza?
What do I think of Gaza?
Yeah.
I think the war in Gaza, to start with, was a perfectly reasonable response in response to the horrors of October 7th. I think now the places, I mean, I've been there. Have you been to Gaza? I've been to Gaza since the war started.
They would not
it's
let
catastrophic.
me into Gaza. Trust me, very few journalists get into Gaza.
Yeah, no, I went with the IDF. It's the only way that you can go in, but nonetheless, you go in and you see a flattened place. I think it is a disaster for the future of Israel, a disaster for the Palestinian people, a horror, 70,000 people dead.
Why would you describe it first as a disaster for the future of Israel? You've got tens of thousands of civilians.
So the number that she said is even lower than reported, but we'll just go with the number that she said, right? She said that there's allegedly 70,000 Palestinians slaughtered, right? And Israel keeps talking about October 7th, which I believe happened in 2024. October 7th, 2024, Hamas attacked Israel. They allegedly killed 1,200 people. However, Israel actually killed some of its own people during the Hannibal Directive accidentally because they were trying to bomb Hamas and they accidentally killed some of their own people. So the 1,200 people that Hamas killed, we don't know how many Hamas actually killed versus how many Israel killed as well of their own people. But let's just go with the 1,200, right? Hamas in a brutal fashion killed 1,200 Israelis and took many of them hostage. Okay, I don't condone that. I condemn that. Right. But they say an eye for an eye. Right. So we got 1,200 bodies. Right. Israel has slaughtered 70,000 plus. Tell me what a bigger number is again. 1,200 or 70,000. When you say an eye for an eye and someone did harm to 1,200 of your people and then you do harm to 70,000 of their people, and it's still going on. Not only do you kill 70,000 plus people, you destroy all of their buildings. You destroy any chance for them to have fresh water and fresh food. And any food that comes in, they have to be approved by the Israeli government, right? How is that not occupation and apartheid, which they deny? So this whole thing of Israel pretending that, oh, we're just slaughtering people and committing a genocide because of October 7th. They're running around everywhere saying that anyone that says free, free, free Palestine is anti-Semitic. Trump, they tell black people, you niggers don't deserve reparations. Stop begging the government. Guess what? Donald Trump, the leader of the government, he gave millions and millions to Jewish people because they experienced anti-Semitism. All it was people saying, globalize the Intifada, free Palestine, and from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. They labeled that as anti-Semitic. So once again, we're supposed to get over being called nigger and being lynched with people holding up signs calling us niggers. But Jewish people are getting paid reparations because someone said globalized an Intifada. No one is calling them victims. No one is going around telling them to stop begging the government, right? The University of Columbia, who had a hand in the slave trade, they didn't give anything to the descendants of the chattel slaves. But guess who they did give some money last year? Tens of millions to Jewish people because their feelings were hurt, right? They're telling you to get over your ancestors being lynched, you being mass incarcerated, you being racially targeted. Get over it, nigger, right? Get over it, right? But they can't get over someone saying free Palestine. How fragile and pathetic could you be? Let's get back into it.
Murdered, but it's foremost a disaster for the future
No,
of Israel. No, it's foremost a disaster for the families of the dead kids.
Absolutely. I made 3 points.
Because everybody sucks up to Israel in this way that suggests they're afraid. And everyone is afraid, and you know that. Everyone's like, the real problem is calling people anti-Semites allows real anti-Semites to flourish. It's like, okay, no, actually, the real problem with calling people anti-Semites who aren't is accusing the innocent of a crime they didn't commit. And the real crime in Gaza is killing people who did nothing wrong. So those are the real problems, I would say. But no one can say it because you have to be like, oh, no, but really, October 7th.
I don't know what you're talking about, guys. We're having
everyone watching this.
And, you know, I like to hit y'all with some receipts and, of course, the scholarship, because there's this double standard. Y'all need to stop begging the government. Okay, tell Jewish people that. Oh, we can't say that. That's anti-Semitic. Okay, this just happened last year, right? Every time, every day, people was talking about reparations for what, right? Why are Jewish people getting reparations? I never gassed any Jewish people in a chamber. I never was a Nazi, right? I never said anything anti-Semitic. But guess what? Colombia will pay $21 million as part of its government settlement. Government settlement for what? Because Jewish people got their feelings hurt. Colombia announced a $200 million agreement with the federal government to resolve anti-Semitism claims, right? So why is anti-Semitism being held on such a high regard? When you call Black people niggers and discriminate against them in housing and jobs and loans, no one cares. Get over it. When someone says to Jewish people that, hey, I support Palestine, free Palestine, that's considered anti-Semitic, and they need to get paid millions of dollars collectively. Show me one video of someone saying that Jewish people have a victim mindset. They're not saying that. People think that they should be paid this, but what happened to them? Literally nothing happened to them. The only thing that happened to them is someone said free Palestine. Free Palestine is now considered anti-Semitic. If you say free Palestine to a Jewish person, it's anti-Semitic, and they may be liable to get reparations. So if you get lynched, no reparations. Enslaved, no reparations. Mass incarcerated, no reparations. Iran-Contra, COINTELPRO, no reparations. Free Palestine, that's anti-Semitic. Cut the check. Okay, this is the world we live in, right? The double standards. Don't beg the government unless you're Jewish or unless you're one of the model minorities. Okay.
This knows what I'm talking about.
Well, let's get on to that right now.
Yeah.
Because you are critical of the government of Israel. Do you believe in Israel's right to exist? Would you consider yourself a Zionist in that narrow definition?
What does that mean, a right to exist?
The existence of the political state of Israel as
But
it
has
existed,
a right. What does that mean?
that you think it should continue in its existence as a state right now. So you do not agree with Iran, for example.
Well, let me just ask, since you asked me the question, it's fair for me to get you to define the term so I can answer it. You've asked two questions. The first was, do you believe Israel has a right to exist? And the second question was, do you believe Israel should continue to go on as a nation state? And those are very different questions. So I often hear the phrase,
having been created as a political entity in 1948,
does it have a
that
right
state
to exist? Is that what you're asking?
I don't want to get hung up on the right.
No.
Should it continue to exist? That's how I define narrowly designed.
Because the phrase you used was devised by the Israeli government. Of course, does it have a right to exist? And so my question to you would be, what does that mean?
Why don't you answer my question? It's a very simple question.
I don't know what your question is. Are you asking, does it have a right to exist, or do I want it to exist? Do I seek its destruction?
Fine, answer it that way.
Well, of course I don't seek its destruction.
Okay,
I've already said, as you know.
And you have to wonder, why are they fixated on asking the same question? Does Israel have a right to exist? Does Israel have a right to exist? Like, come on, man, come up with a better scholarly question. Does Palestine have a right to exist? Do foundational Black Americans have a right to exist in a country that their ancestors built? Does Lebanon have a right to exist? No other country is asked, do they have a right to exist? And then what I say is, because they try to get you with a gotcha question, does Israel have the right to exist? Yeah, you know what? Israel does have the right to exist, and so does Palestine and Lebanon and Jordan and Egypt, right? So the whole, does it have a right to exist? They only ask it about one question. Only about one chosen country with the special chosen people, right? Okay, let's get back into it. And it looks like Roger Meadow says, the perfect answer is Israel has as much right to exist as Palestine, maybe even more, since Palestine was there before Israel. Well, now, just like there was a paper genocide and an ethnocide currently presiding over the foundational Black American freedmen, this is what they're trying to do right now with the Palestinians. Even they're trying to do a paper genocide with the maps. When they have the maps, the new maps, they're going to come out. They're going to say, hey, look, we need new colorful maps printed on environmental friendly paper. But when they print those maps, Palestine won't be on that map. Israel will, but Palestine won't. It doesn't mean that Palestine doesn't exist, but they're ushering in and convincing the future generations that, yeah, Palestine doesn't exist. It's just a figment of your imagination. This is the greater Israel project from here on out. Now it's up to all of us to reject that because that's not the truth. However, you will be labeled as anti-Semitic simply for rejecting that. Because, you know, Gaza, it's not really Gaza, it's Judea and Samaria is what they say, right? So it's ultimately up to us to reject it, because all of these new maps going forward, there won't be any Palestine on there. It's just going to say Israel. So I'm going to play a little bit more of this video, and then I'm going to transition, and then I'm going to shut her down, because I told you I won't be here for a long time, but a strong time.
No, because I said it to you. I don't
answer my question. It's a very simple question.
I don't know what your question is. Are you asking, does it have a right to exist, or do I want it to exist? Do I seek its destruction?
Fine, answer it that way.
Well, of course I don't seek its destruction. I've already said, as you know, because I said it to you, I don't want Israel to be destroyed or have to use nuclear weapons.
We've established that you are in that narrow terms of Zionist. If that's how
I'm in no sense a Zionist. I don't want.
So he should have asked her, does Israel seek the destruction of Palestine and Gaza, and how does she feel about that? Because of course, obviously, she's a Zionist and she's pro-Israel, but fine, keep the same energy. Apply the same logic. Don't be super contradictory and hypocritical. So the whole, does Israel have a right to exist, but you don't care about any other place? Israel is not the Middle East. They try to say it's the only democracy in the Middle East. But if Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, but they're the only democracy that's presiding over a present genocide. Now, there are other genocides going on and all sorts of other tumultuous things going on in the region. So as much as people try to say that foundational Black Americans don't stick together, the Middle East is full of so-called Arabs. Why aren't the Arabs sticking together? Saudi is clashing with Iran. Iraq is not sticking together. Jordan and Egypt is not sticking together. Syria and Libya is not sticking together, right? Where is all of this Muslim Arab unity, right? USA is a democracy and we've done horrible things. Yeah, this is what I'm saying with the whole Israel is the only democracy. Like, okay, if you call that democratic, going around, you know, RAPN dudes putting things up their rectum and then protesting so that you're able to still sexually assault people, like, come on, bro, what is democratic about that? Israel is a democracy because they drop bombs on multiple countries at once. I mean, that doesn't sound democratic. And USA is an alleged democracy that had slavery, that had black codes and Jim Crow, that had debt peonage, red line. All of these things are still going on today. They've just evolved and become more covert than overt, right? It's just like when they stopped the COINTELPRO, they never really stopped it. They stopped that program that was called COINTELPRO. They didn't stop the practice of subjugation, oppression, undermining, and disenfranchisement. They didn't stop that. It's just a different name, right?
Any country to be destroyed, and at all, and I don't want people to die, particularly ones who committed no crime, because I don't believe in killing innocents, period.
And gotta give a shout out to the illustrious guest, Lex in building. Salute to the chocolate glow for show. And we got Bobby McGuire slide in. Bobby, are you related to Lizzie McGuire? Just joking. All people will war. It's all biblical. Armageddon, helter skelter. Politics calls most all wars. So are you pro-war? Are you champion this war on? Are you a war pig, a warmongerer? Just trying to get some clarity on where you're coming from it. I mean, what's your perspective, Bobby?
That's the basis of Western civilization. Eastern civilization is a whole different view. They believe in collective punishment. I don't. No, because I said it to you. I don't want Israel to be destroyed or have to use nuclear weapons.
We've established that you are in that narrow terms of Zionist. If that's how
I'm
we're
in
going
no
to define
sense
it.
a Zionist. I don't want any country to be destroyed, at all, and I don't want people to die, particularly ones who committed no crime, because I don't believe in killing innocents. Period. That's the basis of Western civilization. Eastern civilization is a whole different view. They believe in collective punishment. I don't.
So you're in no sense a Zionist.
I don't even know what that means. Why don't you define the term, and then I'll tell you whether I am.
I've just defined it.
What's
you said that a Zionist, in my narrow term, this definition is that the state of Israel, the political state of Israel, has the right to continue existing.
The right? Where does that right come from? What do you mean? These are I'm not being a lawyer about it. I just want to know what you're asking.
I mean, that is a fair question. When you say they have the right to exist, who gives them that right? Don't try to tell me that it was preordained and that it was a God-given right. If that's the case, show me where God said that. And then they show some vague mentioning of Israel in the Bible. And that says, hey, this mentioning of Israel in the Bible, which many interpreted for Israel to not even be a actual place, just kind of like the church, right? The church is about the people, not necessarily the building or the institution, right? So when people were saying Israel, were they really talking about this modern state of Israel? I mean, that's all up for interpretation. It's all up based on what you believe. Other people believe something else. Some believe that the present inhabitants in Israel, many of them who are European, right? Many of them who are white people who came over to the Middle East and now they're Middle Eastern and framing in cosplaying as indigenous, right? So what people are we really talking about, right? Are we saying that this right is granted by the invaders, the colonizers? Where do the indigenous people fit in here? Oh yeah, I forgot. They're currently being wiped out in a grotesque genocide.
You answered the question.
Because I don't know what you're asking.
Let's go to the
Wait,
third.
no. I think a lot. You don't want to define your question, and I don't know why. I don't know what you're asking me.
And like Rob Deasy says, and God said a diaspora of half European Jews will own the Holy Land in the year 1948. Yeah, Rob, could you give me that scripture? And I think you're actually being a bit modest or a bit generous saying half European, because many of them are full-blown European, right? The saying that they're half European is a stretch, you know what I mean? Most of them are fully European, and many of them don't even believe in God.
I've already said I don't want Israel to be destroyed. I don't want anyone to be killed. And you've said, does Israel have a right to exist? Does it have my question is, what right are you talking about? Does Britain have a right to exist? Does the United States have a right to exist?
There was a world order built up after 1945, which suggested that aggression should not be condoned into countries. That countries with borders have the right to continue.
I totally agree with that.
Okay.
Which is why the first thing that Israel.
So she said aggression shouldn't be condoned. However, they just aggressively bombed a little girl's school in Iran and killed over 100 little girls. And oopsie, just collateral damage in war, right? And this lady is like, just move to Israel already, lady.
Israel did within 2 weeks of this war starting, which is supposedly existential for them, was take southern Lebanon, take someone else's country, as they have done repeatedly. And no one even mentions that. And so I guess I would be opposed to that, because I guess I think Lebanon has a right to exist.
Yeah,
I thought
no,
Gaza
I hear
had a
that.
right to exist.
But
I noticed that as soon as we started portioning rights, only one country gets them.
No, I did not say that. You're absolutely putting words into my mouth.
Because I believe, here's what I do believe, since you asked.
She said, no, I didn't say that, but you didn't say it, right? That's the whole point. No, I didn't say that. Yeah, but that's the point. You didn't say it. You asked, does Israel have a right to exist? The same Israel that is invading multiple countries at once. They're invading Lebanon. Does Lebanon not have a right to exist? They're bombing Lebanon, hitting civilian targets in some cases. Iran, right? Iran is the leader of state-sponsored terrorism. That's what they say, right? Does Iran have the right to exist?
I believe in universally applicable standards. And if they're not universally applicable, they're not standards, they're preferences. That's why I believe in human rights, not ethnic rights. I don't think Jews have more rights or less rights than anyone else. I don't think Christians have more rights or less rights.
And this is where Tucker, he sounds reasonable and rational, but he's lying. I don't believe in ethnic rights, but then when you put a mic in front of him and he's talking to other resident bigots, he always does this identity politics thing while he pretends to rail against identity politics. Him and Elon Musk, we need more white babies. They keep talking about immigration into white countries and white people should be able to have their own countries. Okay, fine. If Europe is for Europeans, then Africa is for Africans, right? But no, the Europeans want to invade Africa, right? Invade the North African Middle East. They want to invade parts of Asia. But hold on, weren't y'all just complaining? Why can't we have our white countries? So on one hand, they'll be complaining about why they can't have their white countries. But you guys go around the world colonizing. No one told you to go into Africa or Asia. Since you want to have white countries with white people, then stay in Europe. But no, that's not what they want to do. They're going around. There's over 750 U.S. military bases across the globe. But yet they're telling other people to not immigrate anywhere. Just stay where you're at. Stay put. We destabilize your homeland. We called it a shithole, but you need to stay in this shithole. You helped make it a shithole. It wasn't just them. It was with the complicity and the collaboration of the corrupt leaders at the top. But many, especially Africa has the youngest population, right? And this is why China and Japan, as technologically innovative they have a extreme aging population, right? So Africa, since it's a very youthful, is very youthful in many countries, that have a lot of white people go over there as the saviors, and they run amok over there with the orphanages, exploiting the resources, oppressing and subjugating the people. But many of the people don't really think they're getting oppressed because some are in abject poverty, eating dirt cookies and stuff. So if someone comes over there and brings you a buttered biscuit, it's like, oh my God, Jesus himself has come down. We don't have to eat dirt anymore. We can eat butter biscuits. And then meanwhile, they're eating steak off the back of the resources that they stole from you. Fine. Tucker is always whining that white people need to have their own countries. Yeah, you have your own countries. Just stop fleeing from them. And then when they complain about immigration, bro, guess who opened the borders? It was people that look like Tucker. It's white people. They always say that the black people have, you guys are unorganized, low IQ, and have no power, right? Isn't this the stereotypical tropes? Okay, fine. That means that you guys are very smart and very wealthy. So you're the one in charge. So if you're blaming about the so-called open borders, who opened them? It was your community. They talking about the clergy plan and it's the Jews. Okay, cool. There's no race called Jewish. So what race are those people again? Then suddenly you hear a chorus of crickets. Now, like I told you, I ain't gonna be here for a long time, but it will be a strong time. So I'm gonna go ahead and transition into this next story, and then I'm gonna get ready to shut her down. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. Y'all chose to be here with me, at least momentarily. And for that, I thank you. So just in case you didn't know, Trump has deployed not the National Guard, ICE. He set ICE loose on many airports. And why exactly is he doing that? Let's get into it. Let me just pull this down. ICE is being sent to U.S. airports primarily because the Department of Homeland Security is in a prolonged shutdown, causing major TSA staffing shortages and long security lines. The administration is using ICE personnel to fill operational gaps normally handled by TSA, not because of a new immigration enforcement initiative. So that is the reason why they're deploying ICE there, because while people are over here crashing out for political parties and saying that, hey, we need to stick together and we need to unite, why isn't Congress uniting? Instead, they're over here bickering like petulant little brats. They're not coming together to pass anything meaningful for the American people. They're playing good cop, bad cop. And unfortunately, the Democrats are okay with Trump is doing because they think that he's running amok and doing things that are detrimental to the country. But if he's doing things that are so detrimental to the country, why aren't they trying to impeach him? They want to impeach him over frivolous reasons. Meanwhile, he's done several impeachable things now, and they're just like, oh, well, nothing to see here. Because behind the scenes, Democrat operatives, they love what Trump is doing because they don't really have to put forth any meaningful tangibles. All they have to say is, Orange man bad. You see how bad it is. It can get worse. So just vote blue no matter who. It's like, but what are you offering? Well, we're not Trump and we're not MAGA. So vote for us. Yeah, but I need some specific tangible policies. So is there anything? Well, we're going to get ICE out and then we're going to stand up for trans people and then we're going to open back up the border. Okay, so how does that help the Black community though? Well, you don't want to vote for the racist MAGA, do you? It just turns into that. So you don't get any tangible legislation, right? If you're not an immigrant, they're not proposing anything for you. You're not a trans person, they're not proposing anything for you unless you're Latino, because many Latinos are white. So they're like, okay, cool. This is going to be our new buffer group. We're done with the niggas. So we're going to put our focus on Latinos. We'll still use Black people as political voter mules and doormats. But in terms of policy, nah. So TSA officers are working without pay, leading to increased absenteeism and long lines. So many of them, since they're working without pay, many TSA agents is just calling in sick, like, nah, bruh, y'all got to get that shutdown handled, and we gonna call out sick. So shout out to the TSA officers because many of them are working without pay right now. So now ICE agents are being positioned as temporary manpower to keep the airport functioning. Now, Congress has not reached a funding agreement, leaving DHS partially shut down. The administration is using ICE as a pressure tactic and a stopgap measure to maintain airport operations, right? Does this sound like our government is being run by competent people? Like Jason Black always says, you gotta watch out for these old niggas. Now, it's not a lot. There is some old niggas in there, but it's just these old boomers, silent generations, and these geriatric goons who are just holding our government hostage. The last time I checked, the average age of Congress was 65 to 69 years old. You got Maxine Waters running for re-election at 87. You got Jimbo Django Clyburn running for re-election at 85. You had that other lady, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, died on the Supreme Court when she could have just stepped down. She knew that she had a life-threatening sickness. And she's still, so no, We don't need a bunch of these old people over here trying to dictate. A lot of y'all have kids. Some of your kids are not even in high school yet. And rather than it being someone like you or someone closer to your age to help determine what the future is going to be, it's someone that's damn near pushing 90 or 100 years old saying what the future is going to be for your kids when they're not even going to be here. Do you think they're trying to secure the future for your poor little impoverished kid, or they're rich, wealthy kids who have a silver spoon? No, your poor kid is going to go be fighting in these forever wars. Does anyone think that Trump's sons are going to be enlisted to go fight, or Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or any of their kids or family members going to go fight? No, because they have to be the ruling class and make all the money while they starve you, disenfranchise you so you're poor. And they say, hey, look, we'll help you get a house, but only if you go serve 10 years in Afghanistan fighting a pointless war. Okay. So let me get into this story. And then, like I said, this will be my last story. And then I'm going to shut her down. So I gave you a preface of the discussion, and now we'll get into this video.
Amid the ongoing
So just give me 1 second.
DHS shutdown, President Trump making a move that he says will help alleviate long lines at airports, but's drawing sharp criticism from some airport workers. Trump posted to Truth Social on Sunday. Monday, ICE will be going to airports to help our wonderful TSA agents who've stayed on the job, despite the fact that the radical left Democrats who are only focused on protecting hardline criminals who have entered our country illegally are endangering the USA by holding back the money that was long ago agreed to. But watch, no matter how great a job ICE does, the lunatics leading the incompetent Dems will be highly critical of their work. They will do a fantastic job. The great Tom Homan is in charge.
That post left many wondering exactly how ICE was going to help out TSA agents, and Homan himself went on Fox News Sunday to clear up some of the confusion.
There's a lot of things that TSA does. It doesn't require like specialized training, right? Like you have exit lanes where people leave the airport. Now people try to enter those exit lanes. That's a security breach. Well, an ICE agent can maintain those exits, and that allows a TSA officer to go back to screening to move people through quicker. You know, ICE can check identification before people enter the screening area, right? And we're trying to release TSA resources to get to positions that they really need expertise in, like the X-ray screening. So it's just, we're going to be a force multiplier.
Despite Homan's reassurances that ICE would not be involved in TSA screenings, some airport workers are speaking out against the move. 4 of the major unions representing U.S. flight attendants released a joint statement condemning it. The unions wrote in part, quote, "This latest threat of ICE invasion at the airports is another distraction from solutions that protect Americans. The introduction of ICE agents into airports creates contradictory missions, as attempts to question passengers about immigration status may distract them from ensuring airport security. There's one solution that immediately solves the problem at our airports: pay the people who are already trained to protect us from terror attacks today."
I mean, to Tom Homan's point, I'm sure there are gaps currently in airport security because of so many of the TSA workers not working, that ICE agents or anyone else with a law enforcement training could fill in the gaps with minimum training or disruption and serve. You know, it's not, I mean, like you said, they can watch an exit. It's not rocket science. You don't have to do a 4-hour or 4-year PhD program. And again, we all know what the rules are, the ridiculous rules that I don't even think should be in place. We're talking about the TSA next, so I don't know whether to do my abolish the whole department rant now or later, or maybe in both segments. But frankly, I think this idea is perfectly fine. I know the point is really to frustrate Democrats and say, okay, well, then we'll have ICE do it if you're not going to fund, it's not that Democrats are not specifically trying not to fund TSA. They're, TSA is basically a bargain.
I know the Democrats want to make this like, ICE is like the Gestapo. No, they're not. And every Jewish person should be offended by comparing ICE to the Gestapo and saying that they're just like Nazis. But even if I did want to grant that and say that the ICE is just like Nazis, guess who helped the Nazis refine their bigotry? Americans. So, yeah, if ICE is like the Gestapo, it would be fitting because Gestapo was inspired, influenced, and oftentimes trained how to treat people by Americans. Even Hitler talks about, the dude with the funny mustache, how he saw how black people were being treated here, which gave him ideas, influence, and inspiration for how he treated people back in Germany.
Chip, Democrats want changes, reforms to ICE. I'm also comfortable with most of the reforms that they have for ICE anyway. And Republicans have agreed to the body cameras.
Mhm.
They should absolutely wear body cameras. That shouldn't be really up for debate, I think. But in the meantime, if they're helping out the
Wearing body cams, having police and other enforcement agencies been wearing body cams for years now. But what happens is oftentimes the body cams are turned off, or they'll be on, and then right when you need the primary evidence, somehow the footage gets distorted or turned off. So no, it shouldn't be a big deal for them to wear body cams. That should be mandatory, but wear functioning body cams, and the body cam should be on at the times that they need to be on, which isn't always the case.
situation is very dire. I mean, people are waiting 4 hours at it's ridiculous. It's absurd and
Yeah.
inconvenient and awful. Awful.
Yeah,
And shout out to the bro JB. I gotta get him back on here. JB said my profile pic looks like the quintessential United Negro College Fund profile. Y'all remember when they used to have them telethons where you call in and a bunch of people used to raise money for the United Negro? They will have a bunch of church tap dancers and boulets and stuff, But yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Roger, you look like Lil Bill, or like you just got straight off the Amistad. But salute to my brother, Roger Meadows, the East Coast and Nassau County.
and someone, may have been a member of the Trump administration, actually was making the point that part of its awfulness is its inherent unpredictability, right? Where there are some airports that are being delayed 4 hours and others that are somewhat routine,
Yep.
or some that change between that status day to day. And of course, so that then you don't know if you have a flight at 6 o'clock, do you arrive at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock or noon? So all of that is part of the picture. In relation to the ICE thing, well, firstly, in relation to the reforms, I think it's completely legitimate to make the argument that ICE agents shouldn't be masked and should identify themselves, which is part of what this funding fight is about. In relation to the airports, look, I question how much having an ICE officer overlook an exit to make sure that nobody is entering through the exit. I have pretty serious questions as to how much that improves things. And the fear would be that because ICE's own actions have made it so divisive and so polarizing, that in fact there's an exacerbation of tensions or strife in an already stressful.
To be honest, it's getting a bit annoying for them to try to pretend as if ICE is just this big bad boogeyman that no one has ever seen, right? ICE is an enforcement arm. Law enforcement is going to enforce the law. Now, you don't have to like the way they enforce the law, but that's what ICE is there for. So to pretend as if we need to reform this specific contingent of law enforcement, but no, law enforcement in general needs a revamping, but they don't talk about the other, deficiencies in law enforcement. It's just like ICE bad, ICE out, ICE out. Like, huh? Like, what is ICE doing that other enforcement agencies haven't been doing. Let me show this video too, because not everybody has an issue with ICE either. Let's look at this. Now, it's people smiling and all this stuff. I'm sure it's annoying, getting harassed, but hey, welcome to what it's like being black in America, right? I'm sure some of these ICE agents are good people, and I'm sure some of them are a-holes. That's what you get with law enforcement, right? But they say, hey, don't let a few bad apples ruin the bunch. But you know, a few bad apples can ruin the bunch. If I give you a bag of apples and it's a few bad ones in there and the other ones appear good, some people would eat those and other people would say, nah, I'm gonna just throw out the whole bag, right? But this is what it looks like at some of the airports. So not everyone has an issue with ICE being at airports. And I say, look, if you don't want ICE at the airports, then make sure you end the government shutdown, fund the departments that need to be funded, right? Because there's no excuse for the TSA to be working without pay. And if we don't have TSA, you can't whine and say, but why is ICE there? Because fine, if you don't want ICE there, then what? You want them to bring Border Patrol or the local police there? So I really don't have an issue with it. And then also, I'm going to go on a limb and assume that most people that are traveling are not undocumented, illegal immigrant alien status, right? So what is the issue? Okay, I get it. It's annoying that your flight is delayed. Then don't fly. Drive, pick another way. It's unfortunate, but this is the country, right? A bunch of these people were saying that this is not a racist nation. It's not a white supremacist nation. There's no systemic racism, right? Okay, fine. There's no systemic racism. So what are you complaining about? Y'all said stop whining about white supremacy. Okay, fine. So there's no white supremacy. There's no systemic racism. So let the people do their jobs, right? They always say, hey, why didn't you just comply? Just comply with ICE and be on your way. And I'm against having a police state, but we've been shouting this from the high heavens that over policing people is not okay. But people didn't care. They were saying, shut up, nigger. Let me guess. You're the usual suspect and didn't do nothing. So they were championing our neighborhoods being overrun and over policed. What do you think stop and frisk is? They can stop you based on how you look, because this is what they say. ICE is stopping people because they're Latino. Okay, well, they were stopping people because they were black and detaining them. And these are American citizens, right? So I'm not for the police state, but if we can't all be comfortable, then we'll all be equally uncomfortable.
Ladies and gentlemen in arrivals area, please refrain from sitting on the carousels. Please refrain from sitting on the carousels.
Oh my God, this is insane. I mean, I've never experienced anything like this. It's crazy. It's insane. I mean, I've never seen an airport like this.
Now, when we travel a lot for work, this is probably the worst that we've ever experienced in our 20 years of traveling.
Actually, we thanked all the TSA agents
We did.
for their service in coming in today.
Correct.
So it looks like a lot of people are annoyed, but I don't see people being oppressed. I think that some people are used to having a certain level of immigrant privilege, immigrant exceptionalism, and people have not been experiencing what it's like to be black or to be treated like a nigga in this country, right? People, the non-niggas is getting a nigga wake-up call. So I'm going to call it a non-nigga wake-up call. That's what many of y'all are getting, right? So like they always tell us, stop complaining, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and suck it up, buttercup. And just to be clear, Trump is not making America great again. There has been some things that he's done that I'm okay with, that I agree with, but overall his presidency has been a failure. He's telling lie after lie, a litany of lies that people are just going with. So Trump is a political establishment stooge and a tool. So yeah, if people really want to see some changes, then we have to abolish and eradicate these political parties. And if we are going to have a party, let's build up a party that actually stands for the American people, right? But ultimately, you are going to have to find ways to build up and enrich your community without the political apparatus. You can use both an inside and outside game, but you will have to engage in some level of mutual aid, pulling your resources together, worker co-ops, private-owned banks. These are the basics of establishing internal political and communal power, right? And I'll touch on things like that a little bit later, but I do have a hard stop. So I'm going to get ready to shut her down. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. Y'all chose to be here with me, at least momentarily. And for that, I thank you. So hit your boy with a like. It won't cost you a fee. The likes are free. Share if you care. And don't worry, I may come back later and hit y'all with a double header. But for now, I'm going to hit y'all with a couple visuals and then I'm out of here. Appreciate y'all.
Be easy. Tell me how it feel. Ooh, tell me how it feel. To be real, to be really that dude. Be easy, that dude. Ay, 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 that dude. Be easy, he is that dude. Ooh, he is that dude, be easy, he is the one that you can call so he can get the job done. He about to reign supreme if you thought his run would soon end. He just getting started though, so go ahead and tune in. Be easy, he is that dude. Ooh, 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 he is that dude.